Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. And perhaps before I start, I would like to play the video first of our company profile. Okay, so they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, so I hope the video is able to give you a glimpse of what we do in Daya Selaras Group, or DSG. So DSG is an Indonesian-based family business, privately held as well, and most of our operations are in Indonesia. So we call ourselves a sustainable industrial hub simply because the subsidiaries within the group are forming together and operating this thing called a circular value chain, which is in line with a circular economy system. But before I get further into DSG's initiatives, I would like to highlight a couple of key challenges that we see nowadays in the waste landscape. And I'm sure that there's been a lot of focus in regards to waste. In this slide, I'm trying to highlight in particular the waste problem that we face in Indonesia. So Indonesia is a huge space, right? Huge land. And the problem that we have with the waste management system in Indonesia is that because of all the different islands that are so segregated, it's very hard sometimes to have a more efficient way to manage all of the waste that's being produced. So in 2022 alone, sorry, go back. Yes, in 2022 alone, we produced around 19.5 million tons of waste. And around 11% of this is paper-based. So you're talking about like the white paper or carton packaging, basically anything that is paper. Despite only 60 to 70% of total waste is being collected in landfills across Indonesia, the problem that we're facing right now are these landfills are already also running out of space. And alone in this year, we have experienced more than 30 cases of fire incidents that have been happening more often because of the increased heat temperature and the methane gas accumulation. And residents are actually living in this area. So the people who are living in these areas, their houses gets burned down, children goes to these areas to study, etc. So it is really an issue, and we know that landfills are not a sustainable solution. Hence, we have this issue of recycling itself. So with such a huge country and a huge amount of waste, the infrastructure and the system to integration, the whole process needs to have a collaborative action altogether within the industries. The solution to all of this that we found is this thing called circular economy. So I'm sure everyone here is already quite familiar with what the circular economy is. It's a regenerative system that designs out waste and pollution, keeps the products and materials in use, and eventually hoping to create that whole zero waste movement. So in the circular economy, this is a diagram that was published by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which is the largest circular economy NGO in the whole world, based in the UK. It speaks about how we're able to tackle climate change from two different point of views. So this diagram is very famously known as the butterfly diagram, because as you can see, there's a right wing and a left wing, right? And the green colored wing there on the right talks about our investments in the renewable energy space. We all know that the transition must be made in order for us to tackle climate change. But there's also that blue colored left-hand wing that talks about stock or resource management. And oftentimes, like, we forget that it's important for us to understand right now, with the current rate of consumption and production that we're experiencing, we are actually using up 1.75 planets worth of resources. And by 2050, it's at this rate, if we continue at this rate, we'll be using up 3 planets worth of resources. So the blue part of that wing, it talks about how can we circulate back all of these resources, not only just to produce less waste, but also to create less pressure for our virgin raw materials that are non-renewable. So you can implement the whole recycling, refurbishing, repurposing, reusing, etc. But of course, reducing is still the #1 most effective solution. Now, how does this relate with Daya Selaras Group and what we do? So, as mentioned just now, we have this term that we coined, a circular value chain. The renewable and circular raw material that we use is waste paper. In particular, your waste packaging, waste boxes, waste packaging. So what happens is that our subsidiaries, we help to collect the waste paper, working together with the informal waste sector or any other companies that want to be involved together with us. And we help to recycle it with the paper mill industry to turn it into, again, industrial paper rolls. And then from there, we use it to convert into packaging. The packaging we supply to our customers who are in various different sectors. And we manage to close the loop by helping our customers to also recycle their packaging waste. So we do this through our group's affiliations and subsidiaries. So the first one is our industrial logistics or trucking company, and that is really the backbone of our entire operations, because we need to have the trucks to go and pick up the waste paper, go to the paper mills for it to be recycled, and then go to the packaging factories again for it to be converted into packaging, supply it to our customers, and then from our customers' location, it picks up the waste again. And it goes on this like entire circular route operations. And then we have the packaging factories. So Daya Cipta Kamasindo is the one that is the first subsidiary that was established back in 1993. And then we have Smart Eco Packendo, another packaging subsidiary that focuses mainly on the SMEs markets. It is now actually working together with a lot of startups and e-commerce platforms that are trying to tackle their packaging waste, especially since COVID and online shopping, the rise of the e-commerce wave, etc. And then we have the last one, which is the waste paper recycling management company. So to go a little bit more in depth with each one, with the waste paper recycling management company, we have been working together very closely with the informal waste sector for all these past 30 plus years. So you're talking about the waste pickers, the waste collectors or waste aggregators. And they're really the main source of our waste because I think that in an economy like Indonesia, again, because of the size, the waste business is actually a form of their own livelihoods as well, or even like their own businesses. So you see these waste pickers on the streets, they actually may have their own small pickup trucks, and they are able to trade the waste again for money and for their livelihoods. So that's one of the main sources of our waste paper. In return, we not only pay them for the waste, but also we enter into joint operation agreements with some of them. So this is how we manage to support their entrepreneurial journey as well. We provide them with financing, working capital, and capital machineries like the slide, the background on this slide is an example of a machinery that presses the waste paper for it to be turned into bales so that it's more efficient for logistics purposes and storage as well. And of course, in terms of logistics. The second source that we work together with are our packaging customers or companies who want to implement a joint EPR or extended producer responsibility program. In total, we can recycle up to 48,000 tons of waste paper every year. And we work together with around 300 of these informal waste sector across Indonesia. With the industrial logistics, again, it's really about focusing on the entire circular route of the group. But right now, we're also at around 25 to 30% serving external parties. With the packaging factories, so we have around 3 different locations across West and Central Java, and we serve more than 300 plus customers. We're one of the leading corrugated carton packaging businesses in Indonesia. We supply to the multinational groups, local brands as well from FMCG space, e-commerce, electronics, personal care, and many more. So we are also FSC certified. I think that just now I saw in Michelle's slide, traceability. That's actually very important, especially when it comes to packaging. So the Forest Stewardship Chain of Custody certification that we hold for several years now, it's important for us to be able to show that traceability within the supply chain, how the sustainable practices are being implemented at each level. We're also Ethical Trade Audits Metacetic certified and ISO 9001 and so on. For the smaller packaging business, it focuses again on the SMEs market and working together with the startups in e-commerce. So aside from boxes, recently in the pandemic, what we did was we wanted to come up with a solution to eliminate the plastic bubble wrap use. So we produced this thing that we call a corrugated carton wrap. And it's really the design and innovation of our internal team because the main material that is being used is actually the waste from our own factory operations. So it's thicker than paper wrap. It's around 4 to 7 millimeters in terms of its thickness. There's 2 different types. And it's meant to be 100% recyclable. It's even reusable as long as you're able to take off the tape very carefully. And we've been working together with e-commerce spaces like Blibli, Sociola, which is the largest beauty platform, e-commerce platform in Indonesia and across Southeast Asia. This slide here I put in, I know that it wasn't there originally in the different group affiliations slide or subsidiaries. So DSG is mainly the manufacturing and logistics holding of the family business, but we also have a real estate holding. which is a sister company. And one of the commercial real estate investments is this co-working and office space that is situated in Sudirman CBD, Jakarta. It's around 23,600 square foot in size, and you saw the logo as well in John's slide, because we recently, just in March of this year, we decided to open Indonesia's first climate tech hub. And it's really about integrating our value and strategy with sustainability into the space. The objective of this whole thing is to provide that hub, that platform, to connect people who are within the climate tech industry, from the private sector, public sectors, NGOs, venture builders, VCs, etc. So we've been running since March of this year, so we just started. But we managed to hold several events now when it comes to capacity building programs, networking, business matchmaking, and many more. In terms of our own sustainability commitments, so in DSG, when we define sustainability, we really define it as the power of balance between three different factors. First is from a social factor, and then second, environment, and the last one is economic. So for us, that is really what sustainability is all about. And the foundation of everything that we do has to start from our people, our internal employees and colleagues. It's about building that culture and, of course, engaging with the communities and different stakeholders involved. From there, if your people is well, then your community, then your environment is also is well. You're able to protect and care, reduce your negative environmental impacts, and then from there we can actually see increased productivity, increased efficiency, eventually leading to profitability. So these are the different SDGs that we also try to highlight in our operations. I think that in particular with the SDG number 12, which is basically circular economy, more than 90% of the waste that is being produced in our entire group is paper. And we're able to recycle all of that internally within our own value chain. For the remainder that we aren't unable to, we have to work together with third-party recyclers. Water, it's the same thing just now. I think it was mentioned as well by the previous speakers. We try to, have invested in this wastewater treatment plants in all of our factories. The initial cost is expensive, yes, but once you start, you get it running, it reuses and recycles your water, so it becomes a cost efficiency initiative as well. We are involved with several organizations across ASEAN, Indonesia in particular with the Indonesia Circular Economy Forum. And this year, actually, one of the interesting highlights that we had was when we were working together with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation Community Network. They have this tool, this assessment tool called Circulytics. It measures how circular is your entire business operations. In Europe, it's already quite a big thing because of the whole CSRD. There's actually a circularity embedded into everyone's ESG reports, but for parts of Asia, still not yet. But we managed to get a score B already for this, and it was just this year. So overall, DSG becomes this one-stop solution for waste paper circularity, where we help you to collect, recycle your waste paper, and we're able to provide that recyclable packaging solution as well. And these are really the objectives of our entire group, whereby we know we're not only trying to provide a more sustainable solution for waste management, but we're also working together with the informal waste sector and collaborating with all the other stakeholders as well. So thank you very much. I think that is it. And